Yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. It's Neff, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my 9.2 HAVOC DH raid guide for Sepulcher of the first ones. Basically, I'm going to be going through every boss and showing the talents, covenants, and legendaries that I will personally be playing for each boss in the new raid. None of this is really set in stone. I think there might be some changes going into heroic. And we'll see how both Night Fae and Venthyr perform on each boss without tier sets and without the double legendary. Currently, Venthyr sends the highest in single target, and Night Fae is the best for AoE without double legendary and tier sets. So this will be subject to change over the next few weeks, especially with tuning. So I will update this document throughout the course of the next few weeks when I'm personally playing each boss. There will be a link to the document in the description of this video and in my Discord. If you want to join my Discord, there's a link in the description for that as well. If you want my UI, you can sub to me on Twitch. There's a link in the document and a link in the description. Basically, you just sub to me on Twitch. You can use a Prime sub or a normal sub, and then you join my Discord, connect your Twitch account with your Discord, and then in my Discord, you'll see a hidden category or some channels pop up that you didn't see before. And in those channels, you'll see a bunch of links for my UI installer and all my import strings for all my add-ons and everything you need in there. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joined the Discord so far. It's been about a month, and I think we're almost at 100 members in the Discord. So if you join the Discord and you're just, showing support on the videos and everything, I really appreciate you guys. And it means a lot to me. So one more little shout out before we move on. I do want to say, if you aren't subbed yet, please hit that sub button. Only 10% of people that watch my videos are actually subbed to me. Subs really help me out. It's free, and while you're here, if you could do that, that would mean the world to me, and it really helps me out. Enough with the shout outs, let's get into the video. The first thing we're going to be looking at before the bosses, we're going to be looking at the legendary slots for HAVOC Demon Hunter. And Night Fae with single legendary, you're going to be running Burning Wound, and you're going to want that on your cloak. With double legendary, you're going to be running Burning Wound and on the cloak, and then the Covenant legendary on your feet. And then with Venthyr for single legendary, you're going to be running Agony Gaze, which is the Covenant legendary. And at first, you're going to want that on your legs. And then when we unlock the double legendary Memory of Unity, you're going to want to put that on your feet. And then with double legendary, you're going to be running Agony Gaze with the Covenant legendary on your feet, and then Collective Anguish on the cloak, or Dark Glare Medallion on the neck. And then for Necrolord, it's going to be the same thing as Night Fae: single legendary, Burning Wound on cloak, double legendary, Burning Wound on the cloak, and then the Covenant legendary on your feet. So keep in mind, you do only need to make the Memory of Unity one time. It will swap between all the covenants, so just make it one time, put it on your feet, and you're good to go. So we're gonna hop right into the bosses now. So the first mandatory boss you have to fight in the raid is the Vigilant Guardian, and we're gonna be running Night Fae with Karain, Growing Inferno, First Strike, and Dancing with Fate. And then the talents we're going to be running is Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Glaive Tempest, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic, with the Burning Wound legendary. So this is going to be a very good fight for Demon Hunter. There's a ton of ads that spawn throughout the fight, and that's what we're good at. We're very good at consistent AoE / cleave damage, and I think this will be a really great fight for Demon Hunter, especially with the First Strike Soulbind. We'll probably have like a 100% uptime on that First Strike buff, which is going to be pretty nuts. So I think we'll do very well in this fight. The next fight we're going to be looking at is Skolex. I think you can choose to fight this boss later, but it is a pretty easy boss, and I think most guilds will definitely choose to fight it next. This is a pure single target fight, so I think Venthyr will definitely be the best Covenant choice for this fight, but Night Fae will definitely do its thing. So Night Fae, you're going to be running Naya with Growing Inferno and Dancing with Fate, and the talents you'll be running are Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Unbound Chaos, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic. And then the legendary again is Burning Wound. And then for Venthyr, you'll be running Nausea with Growing Inferno and Relentless Onslaught. And the talents you'll be running are Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic. And you'll be running the Agony Gaze legendary. But then when we get double legendary, you'll be running either Collective Anguish or Dark Glare Medallion. I will update this document when we unlock double legendaries, which will be the 3rd week of Mythic. So definitely be sure to keep up to date with this document throughout the next couple weeks. Like I said, this is a pure single target fight, but there is a lot of movement. So there might be some downtime if you're playing Venthyr. So Night Fae might be the better option here before the double legendary. Night Fae is definitely easier to play in prog, considering you don't need a super high boss uptime to be very efficient with your damage. So I'll definitely be testing this out and seeing what works best for me before we get double legendaries. But I think once we get double legendaries, Venthyr will definitely 100% be the best covenant for this fight. So the next boss we'll be looking at is Xy'mox. There's a lot of adds on this fight, and Khura'in will be very good, and the hunt will be very good. But ultimately, boss damage is going to really matter in this fight, and getting the phases when you need to phase the boss. So Venthyr might be the better option depending on your comp, depending on how your single target is in your raid, which is great, right? Like as the demon hunter, we can either choose to go more AoE oriented or more single target oriented, and our single target oriented build is definitely one of the better ones in the game. And we are very strong with consistent AoE and some decent bursts with the hunt. So I think this will be a pretty good fight for Demon Hunter. So for Night Fae, you'll be running Khura'in, Growing Inferno with First Strike and Dancing with Fate. And the talents you'll be running is Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Glaive Tempest, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic with the Burning Wound Legendary. And then you can, like I said, you can play Venthyr for this fight. It'll be a lot better once we get double legendaries, but if you need more single target to face the boss when you need to, Venthyr will be a very good option to add a little bit more single target to your raid. So for Venthyr, we'll be running Nausea, Growing Inferno, and Relentless Onslaught. And the talents you'll be running is Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic. Like I said, this will be a very good fight for Demon Hunter. There's like 5 adds that spawn throughout the fight, and that's very good for the hunt. The hunt's capped at 5 targets, and towards the end of the fight there is a good lineup for meta. So if you're running Venthyr, you can meta all the adds in the boss, and you can do some really big burst damage to help push that execute phase. So I think Demon Hunter will be very strong in this fight as well. So the next boss we'll be looking at is Dausegne, I think is how you say that boss's name. I have no idea, honestly. So for Night Fae, we'll be running Naya with Growing Inferno and Dancing with Fate. And then the talent she'll be running is Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Unbound Chaos, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic with the Burning Wound Legendary. And for Venthyr, this will be a pretty good Venthyr fight. It's a lot of single target and 1 ad spawns. Once we get double legendary, this will definitely be a always go Venthyr fight with the Collective Anguish Legendary or the Dark Lair Medallion, as we do very good 2 target damage. So for Venthyr, you'll be running Nausea, Growing Inferno, and Relentless Onslaught. And then the talents are, again, Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic with the Agony Gaze Legendary at first. And then once we get double legendary, you'll be running Agony Gaze with either Collective Anguish or Dark Lair Medallion. So the next boss we'll look at is Prototype Pantheon. This is a pretty AoE oriented fight. There's a lot of mobility needed to get to the ads spread around throughout the fight. So Demon Hunter with our mobility will definitely be really nice for this fight. There are 2 bosses that are up at all times, and then at the end there's 4 bosses. So I think again this will be a really good fight for Venthyr once we get double legendary. But for now, I think Night Fae will probably be better with the First Strike Soulbind. So for Night Fae, we'll be running Khura'in, Growing Inferno, and First Strike with Dancing with Fate. And then the talent you'll be running is Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Glaive Tempest, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic with the Burning Wound Legendary. And then for Venthyr, you'll be running Nausea, Growing Inferno, and Relentless Onslaught with the talents being Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic. So like I said, again, once we get double legendary, you'll be running either Collective Anguish or Dark Lair Medallion for Venthyr, and I think Collective Anguish will definitely be the move for this fight with the 2 targets and the ads that spawn. Once we get double legendary, we'll easily be able to keep up 2 Sinful Brands like at all times throughout this fight, and we're gonna do some crazy damage. Especially there is a very good lineup with meta towards the end of the fight when there's 4 bosses out, and having 4 Sinful Brands out on all 4 bosses is definitely going to be some crazy damage. So the next boss we'll be looking at is Lihuvim, I think is how you say that name. Again, there's a lot of movement in this fight and some ad bursts, so this will be a very good fight for Demon Hunter. So for Night Fae, we'll be running Khura'in, Growing Inferno, and First Strike with Dancing with Fate. And then the talents we'll be running is Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Fell Blade, Demon Blade, Glaive Tempest, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic, and with the Burning Wound Legendary. And for Venthyr, you'll be running Nausea, Growing Inferno with Relentless Onslaught. And again, talents: Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic, with the Agony Gaze legendary. So again, I think this is going to be a much better fight for Venthyr once we get our double legendary. Collective Anguish is going to do a lot of damage to the ads, and at the end of the fight, again, you know, there's some ads that spawn, and it lines up pretty well with meta. So once you meta on all those ads, you're going to do some crazy damage during the execute phase. One thing with this fight, you could also run the Increased Scrutiny Conduit, the Venthyr Demon Hunter Conduit, that reduces the cooldown of Sinful Brand, and I think you can get a Sinful Brand on just about every single big ad that spawns, so that might be an option to explore. So the next fight we'll look at is Halondrus, and apparently some changes were made to this fight. I don't know if we've seen them yet. I personally haven't seen them, and I don't think we know what they are yet. But if it is about the same, and we have to do a lot of pillar damage, we're going to be very good at doing that with either Sinful Brand or the Hunt. And there is a lot of mobility in this fight, which Demon Hunters have. And I think, again, this will be a very good Demon Hunter fight. So for Night Fae, you'll be running Naya, Growing Inferno, and Dancing with Fate. And then the talents you'll be running are Fellblade, Demon Blade, Unbound Chaos. You can run Glaive Tempest as well if you want to save your Fell Rushes for movement rather than damage. Because like I said, there is a lot of movement in this fight. But again, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic with the Burning Moon legendary. And then for Venthyr, we'll be running Nausea, Growing Inferno with Relentless Onslaught, and the talents will be Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of Glaive, and Demonic, the Agony Gaze legendary. And then once we get double legendary for Venthyr, we'll definitely be running Dark Glare Medallion, maybe Collective Anguish, but I think Dark Glare Medallion will definitely be the move in this fight. So again, I think even without the Increased Scrutiny Conduit, we can get damage on every single pillar with our Sinful Brand, but Increased Scrutiny may be an option to run on this fight, but we'll have to see what the changes are looking like and all the phase timings and everything like that. So the next fight we'll be looking at is Anduin. Again, this fight was also changed. I don't think we've seen what it's going to exactly look like yet, but you can kind of guess by the tooltip there are going to be ads. And I think Karain with First Strike will definitely be the move for this fight, especially before double legendary. Once we get double legendary, Venthyr with Agony Gaze is going to do some insane single target and with some pretty good AoE. So for Night Fae, you'll be running Karain, Growing Inferno, and First Strike with Dancing with Fate. And the talents: Fellblade, Demon Blade, Glaive Tempest, First Blood, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic, with the legendary being Burning Wound. So as Venthyr, you'll be running Nausea with Growing Inferno and Relentless Onslaught, and the talents being Blind Fury, Insatiable Hunger, Unbound Chaos, Cycle of Hatred, Master of the Glaive, and Demonic, with the legendary being Agony Gaze. And then, like I said, once we get double legendary, it'll be Collective Anguish for sure. From the old testing, there is a lot of movement in this fight, so before double legendary, Venthyr might not be a very good option. It just depends on how the boss uptime is actually looking, and we'll see how that is in Heroic Week. These are all the bosses. Like I said, a link to this document will be in the description, and I will update this throughout the next couple weeks. Trying to find out what I personally like. I think Venthyr and Night Fae are definitely going to both be viable options on pretty much every single boss. It's honestly just kind of a preference thing, and kind of just like what your raid needs. If you need more single target, you can go Venthyr. If you need more AoE, you can go Night Fae. And again, all this is subject to change with tuning. Definitely stay updated with the document. So I think that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. A link to my Discord will be in the description if you want to talk about this, if you have any questions or anything. I know a lot of these builds for most of the fights were pretty much exactly the same, but you know, it is what it is. I just had a lot of people asking me, you know, what I think the best builds for each boss would be, and they said I should make a guide like this, so you know, I did. It's pretty much it. Till next time, guys. Peace.